Welcome back to Redeemed Treasures, and today I've got something I'm going to make that I've been wanting to do because I just don't want to buy one. So I'm going to make, let me show you, it's called a castor oil pack, and it looks a little something like this. And I'm making one for the liver like this. I found out that I had fatty liver, which I expected. I totally expected that. But I did not expect them to come back and say, you have gallstones. So I'll be using a castor oil pack to help get rid of the gallstones and the fatty liver. And research I've done says that it needs to be cotton flannel because that helps hold in heat. And then I'm going to use, a lot of them use a polyurethane covering because otherwise the oil is going to just get all over your clothes, your sheets, everything, because castor oil is really, really thick. So you need kind of that plastic covering so that it doesn't get everywhere. And I looked up common items that are made of the polyurethane, and so the reusable shopping bags was one of them. So I'm going to use this cute little shopping bag as the cover for my little castor oil liver pack. Nobody's going to see it. I'm going to wear it all night when I go to bed. But it'll still be kind of cute. So, and this one's already got the, where's it at? It has the trim already kind of coming off, like right here. There's a little hole. So I don't mind cutting into this. So yeah, I need to measure, get an idea. Since having my ultrasound, I know a little bit more about where the liver sits. And it's a huge organ, y'all. I knew it was big, but she started scanning like right here. I was like, wow, that's way over there. And let's see. So right about here to about, I'd like to go a little bigger. Most of the ones that are online are like 17 inches long by 9.5 wide. I would think I would want to go a little bit bigger. Well, no, that's right about 17. Maybe I'll go 18 just to be extra. I don't know. And then the 9.5, yeah, that would be about right. Okay, so 17 by 9.5 is probably about right, unless I just want to do 18 by 10. Maybe. I'll need to see what my scrap pieces are like because I'm going to use scrap flannel shirts because it is cotton flannel and all the ones I use are 100% cotton. They're not organic, which I would prefer, but I'm not going to go out and buy materials for this. I'm going to use what I have here. So, I've got my measurements. I need to go through my scraps and see what I can pull to use for that. On to finding the material and then cutting so I can make my liver castor oil pack. Okay, so I have a bag of scrap flannel. And so I'm going to dig through here and see what I can find that is the size that I need. So I determined that what I'm going to do is make the cotton and flannel the 17 by 9.5 for the area that it covers. And then the plastic bag, I'm going to do it 2 inches bigger. And that will give me some seam allowance because I'm going to have to take care of those raw edges. I'm going to cut it and then I will fold the plastic in. So I'll fold it under once and sew it. And then I think I might try to salvage the binding that they already have on the bag and then put that around it. But I want to fold it in and sew the bag first and then do the binding because as you see, when it's just a single layer, it's pulling out. Okay, so I found 3 shirts that'll work. They're all 100% cotton flannel, and they'll be the correct size that I need, the 17 by 9.5. So I'll get those pieces cut out. I'm going to do a layer of 3. They say you do a layer of 2 or 3, but I think 3 will be good. Okay, so it ends up I was able to get 2 pieces out of the green plaid, and then I just did one of the black. This one's probably the softest, so I'll put that one against my skin. But I'm going to layer these all 3 together, and then I think I'm just going to run them through the serger, because in that way there won't be any fraying or anything. It'll make those seams a little bit thicker, so that I think the elastic will hold it better. So now I need to measure and cut this bag. What did I say? 19 by 11.5. I'm going to cut down the edges to start with, just to get rid of these corners so I can lay it flat. Oh, and look, there is stitching on there. So yes, they can be sewn. Yay! Okay. I'm just going to cut down the side. I'll take that banding off later. And while I was cutting the inside pieces, I was thinking, I was like, well, maybe I can sew together a bunch of flannel pieces and make those what ties the piece around me. So I'm thinking on that one. 19 by 11.5. think that'll work. Let me get my other scissors. Do not use your fabric scissors for cutting stuff like this because it is not fabric. And this one. Cool dog. So yeah, I was going to fold under once and then put the binding on it. Let me see how this looks though first. Yeah, that should be okay. And I'm going to say the strap needs to go here and here, here, and here. Okay. So that's where the elastic straps are going to go. Okay, so I think I'm going to go ahead and sew those on before I sew the edge down. So maybe that edge will be caught in there and they'll essentially be sewn twice and make them a little bit stronger. So I'm just going to go over this. It's just a little piece, which makes me nervous, but I'm just going to go over it multiple times and we'll see how it goes. And I'll follow that ink line for where I'm supposed to sew. Okay, that made a weird noise going through that plastic. Oh, what I wouldn't do for a machine that cuts the thread itself. So that looks pretty good. It just sounds really weird going through this plasticky stuff. Alright, so now I need to do the other side. There we go. Okay. That one went a little bit smoother coming out of there. Still just sounds so weird. I don't know if you can hear it or not, but it's like it sounds so weird. But that's okay. Alright, so my line was a little off as far as this distance right here goes. So if I would do it where the line was, that would be super crooked. So I'm just gonna make the elastic look straight, see where the line is at, and just sew down here. It's all good. Alright, so the straps are on. Now I want to fold this down before I put binding on it. I don't have to, I just feel like it would hold better. See, like that. So that just kind of helps to hold it in place. It's not tight against it or anything, but it should help to hold that in place. So if I sew this like that and then do the binding. Okay, I just want to make sure that this plastic part goes beyond the cloth so that the oil doesn't seep out and get everywhere. I'm just going to kind of finger press this. Can you guys see what I'm doing? Probably not. I'm just going to kind of finger press this just up a little bit. And it's probably not even going to be 100% even, which is fine. Just remember, we're going for function, not fashion. There we go. Alright, so we're just going to sew along the edge here. Like, I'm just going to sew along the middle. Alright, I'm back. I got all of the banding off of the bag, and I took my cover piece and I doubled up a piece of the bag and serged the edge of it and then added it to both of the short edges, because this is where my tie strings are going to be. So I wanted to make sure that was reinforced so that that wasn't going to rip stuff out. And then the banding will fit somewhat over some of that threading that I did. So basically what the banding is a big strip of, and you can make these yourself, it's a big strip. I know it's probably hard to see, I don't know, because the window's probably doing too much light. Anyway, it's a big strip, and then you fold the insides in, and then you fold it in half, and then that way all the raw edges are inside of there. And I'm putting this on because I want it to be more comfortable against my skin, and I think this will help. And I just wanted to be able to use as much of the bag as I possibly could. So I'm going to put the banding on like this. I'm not going to change out the thread or anything. It's like a cream colored thread. And it's going to go all the way around the entire thing. I'll have to figure out my corners. There's a way that you can do this. I don't remember what it is, but I'll figure it out. So I'll get the banding sewed on, and then I'm going to have to figure out what to do about the ties. Alright, so I got all the banding around this, and I'm looking at it going, wow, this would be really cool placemats, either for outdoors or for toddlers or just for the fun of it. So if I rescue any reusable bags, like somebody's just going to throw them out or something, then that might be something that I end up doing, because I really like the way it looks. So to start out with, I wasn't sure how this was going to sew, but it's doing really, really well. So having these reinforcements on here, I think, are really going to help. And I think I am going to end up using flannel for tying it. I don't know. I think the flannel would work better. I wish I had more of this, because this feels like an apron string. I need to dig through my scraps, see what I have and what I can use. But I decided that I'm going to make the ties 50 inches long. And I said on here ×4, but the more I'm looking at it, the more I think I want one here at the bottom, one in the middle, and one up here, just to make sure it's holding close. And then, of course, it's going to repeat on the other side. So there's going to be, so instead of ×4, it's going to be ×6. And I said 50 inches because I want to make sure they're long enough, because I can always cut them shorter if they're too long. So let me think on it a little bit, if I want to use flannel or something else. Definitely not t-shirt material, because it stretches too much, I think. So I'm going to look through my scraps, because this would be a great way to use up scraps, because it doesn't have to look nice. It just has to be functional. So, but I'm going to use this as an example of the width that I want it to be, because once it's all folded down, I think that's a good width right there. So I'll have to measure that and see what that is. All right, so once I get that figured out, I will let you know. So I made 6 straps like this. I ended up using bed sheets because I could just cut the width I want and then just rip them. But Lord, the amount of strings is crazy. So I initially started out with 50 inches long, and that was way too long. Way too long. I ended up taking 30 inches off. So now I've got 36-inch long straps. That gives me an extra little bit of room if I need it. I could probably make them shorter, but I think I'm comfortable with 36 inches. Oh, and I just serged the edges together because I didn't want to deal with sewing a regular straight seam and then turning these all inside out. That would have been a nightmare. So, and like I said, function over fashion. Now I'm just going to fold this end. This end is raw. The other end was a finished part of the sheet. So I'm going to use that as the end of my tie, and this raw edge is what's going to get sewn on to the bag. So I'm just going to fold this under so that the raw edge doesn't fray out and show. And I'm going to put them on 3 different points of my cover. And then we will put the flannel inside and see how it looks. so I got all the straps on, and they are super, super secured. I went back and forth 2 or 3 times on each section, each line, each X. So, yeah. Let's flip it over. There we go. Almost lost where my flannel piece was. Let's see. This will go in on this side, and that elastic will help hold it in place. It's not super tight, it doesn't need to be. And then this side, sorry, it's hard to do with one hand. I'm holding the camera with the other. There. Okay, so then saturate this piece with castor oil, and then I can tie this around where my liver is at, and I will be doing that for several months to come, I'm sure, as well as a liver cleanse and stuff like that, and we'll have to check in with the doctor later to see how well it works. So I'm very happy with this. I think this is going to be really cool. So with the elastic in there, I figured I can switch this out if I need to, depending on how difficult I find to wash it after several. I mean, you can use it several times because castor oil doesn't pull toxins out. It actually soaks in to your body and breaks down lumps, bumps, and all that stuff. Maybe I'll get rid of some of my scar tissue that's in there too. So yeah, that looks really good. That's really cute. Doesn't have to be because nobody's going to see it except for me and my husband. And yeah, awesome. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And I saved a lot of money, and I used stuff I already had. There was nothing that I purchased. So great way to reuse stuff. And I really like working with these plastic bags. I know that sounds weird, but I really do. And again, I think this would make a really cool placemat or something. If there's something that you think would be really cool with these, let me know in the comments, and maybe I will attempt to make something that you mention. All right, have a great rest of your day, and I will see you guys later. Bye.